If you've ever had a cat, you've probably thought about this at least once. I wonder what they would be like if they were human. Well, our protagonist Natsume Iori thought about it too. Natsume runs to his cat named Mi-chan. He hugs it and starts rubbing its soft and fluffy paws. Suddenly he woke up. He opened his eyes and saw a woman beside him in his bed, and his hand was grabbing onto one of her massive juicy oranges. He panicked and quickly got out of bed, asking who she was. The girl looked at him, and Natsume panicked, thinking his train had entered a tunnel. But the girl told him to not worry, because the dance floor stayed empty last night. Natsume looked at the time and quickly rushed out of his room, telling the girl they'll talk later. The girl gets confused, thinking he works as a software engineer, because even in situations like these, he does not take breaks. Natsume arrived at the store he works at and got a call from his co-worker telling him she won't be coming to work because her son is sick. Other part-timers get mad that she isn't showing up for work again, because the last time she said her son was sick, she was actually just playing with her son at home. They suggest reducing her number of shifts so she would learn her lesson, but Natsume is too nice of a guy to do that. The other part-timer calls him a beta male for always forgiving her at work. He's always dealing with cranky grandpas who can't understand why their discount coupon from 50 years ago doesn't work. So on his way back home, he looks like he actually works as a software engineer. But at least this one, he gets to go home. Natsume complains that he wants to talk to cats, not humans. Just then, he sees a black cat in front of him. His eyes widened, and the cat bows its head to let Natsume pets it. He brought it to his balcony at home and gave it a bowl of milk. Suddenly the cat walks into his house and rolls around. Natsume panics because he isn't allowed to have pets in the apartment, but he couldn't resist its cuteness, and it ended up falling asleep. Natsume then went to bed right beside it. We're back to the present time, and Natsume is walking home, thinking about the cat last night. He then realized that he left his house with a random girl in it. He quickly got in, and the girl was no longer there, because after all, Natsume been gone for 16 hours. Suddenly the cat from yesterday came back. He hugs it and thought he should send it back to its owner. Natsume realized he just unlocked a door. So how did the cat enter? He brushes it off and sends the cat off. As he walks in, the cat gave him a sad look and he brought it back in. He told the cat to keep quiet, or the landlord will find out. He then starts wondering who the girl that was in his bed was. He really wanted to talk to her too, but nothing can be done, so he decided to make shifts. While he's doing this, the cat got up and licks him. Natsume got super happy and gave the cat some food. He then went to bed with the cat beside him. Again, he realizes last night he slept really well, because usually he would wake up every 2 hours or so. He wonders if it was because of the cat. He recognizes its ribbon from somewhere, and he fell asleep. He woke up, and the same girl's right in front of him. His head is resting on her thighs, and she said good morning. Natsume gets shocked and asks how she got in. She told him to calm down since she isn't a thief, and she just wanted to thank him. Natsume gets confused, and she told him that the food he gave her yesterday was very tasty. She asks for his name and says he has a cute name. She reveals that she likes him. She smiles and gets on her knees as she starts crawling towards him. She told him that she'll let him keep her. Natsume blushed real hard as she got on top of him. The girl waits for his answer, and when Natsume is about to give her his answer, her stomach growls. She told him to wait and demands French toast. She wants him to use a baguette instead of the usual bread topped with granulated sugar and maple syrup, and lastly, some fruits on the sides. Natsume suggests they go eat out instead, but the girl said she can't go out, otherwise she'll be chased away. Natsume gets confused, and she says, just kidding. She touches his cheek and says she's counting on him at the bakery store. Natsume saw a reflection of himself and realized his dark circles are gone since he's been getting enough sleep these last 2 days. The employees looked at him, thinking he's some weirdo staring at his own reflection. Natsume saw this, and he quickly grabbed the bread and got out. He got home, whipped up a 5-star meal, And I'm just here wondering, why is this guy clocking in at the store? Somebody call Hell's Kitchen already. The girl gets super excited seeing this. Natsume explained he has always liked cooking as a kid, and he was good at it since a child. He's a natural-born cook, and since the girl looked hungry, he decided to cook a lot for her. She smiles and rubs his head as she's about to dig into the thick, buttery slab of toast. Natsume realized that the red ribbon he saw on the cat is around her neck. He asks her about it and then asks her how she knew what the food he gave the cat last night tasted like. Okay, this guy might be a master chef, but he's got the brain power of a rock in a rainstorm. She practically had to spell it out for him that she's the black cat who showed up at his house 2 days ago. Come on, Natsume. It doesn't take Scooby-Doo to crack this one. She explained that she's a catgirl, a girl who turns into a cat at night and a human in the morning. Natsume still doesn't believe her. She then told him that she was naked because when she was a cat, she didn't have any clothes on. And that's also why she couldn't leave his house. But Natsume is still convinced he's being pranked. The girl looks at him and gives him the baby bird, feed me now treatment. Natsume ate it. Natsume told her she can't stay in his house because it's dangerous to stay in a single man's house. Also, sometimes he might not be home. So he suggests she live in a woman's house. She laughs and calls him a nice guy. She then tells him she wants to stay with him. She gets close to him and tells him she's a good girl. And if she stays here, they'll eat together, sleep together, and she'll improve his life quality. Oh yes, please. You know what they say. A hug a day keeps the confusion at bay. She put her hand on his face, and Natsume is absolutely blazing red. She then suddenly said she'll start by cutting his hair. She said his hair is super messy. Natsume apologizes and gets nervous, and she was so close to him as she's about to start. She says she's never cut anyone's hair before in the end. Natsume went to a barber. He got out and went to his workplace. His co-worker gets confused about why he's here. Since it's his day off today, he explains to her that he's here to fill his other co-worker's place since she's not here. The girl suggests he go home and she'll fill her place instead. Natsume wonders why, and she said he seems a little better. That's all. He came back home and is greeted with half of the girl's homemade dessert. And no, I'm not talking about pastry shop. He quickly covers his eyes and she looks at him and said he's looking better than yesterday. Natsume blushes and the girl added that maybe it's because he finally had a proper meal. Natsume then thought she wanted him to make French toast for his own sake, but the girl said, "Nah, I'm just hungry." She moved over to his bed and lay down. Natsume asks her for her name. She rolls over and gets on top of him, telling him her name is Mi-chan. She then turns back into a cat, jumps on him and starts licking him endlessly, and they both fell asleep. Morning came, and Natsume was being woken up by a couple of slaps on the face. He got angry, but as soon as he opened his, he sees Mi-chan with her bare headlights on full beam. He panics and blurts out, "Turn those off before you cause a total meltdown in my pants." Natsume realizes it's only 6:30. Mi-chan says she's hungry, but Natsume usually gets out of bed at 7:30 and leaves for work without breakfast, but her stomach is empty. Natsume told her to go help herself. She's displeased to hear this and bites him. In the end, Natsume got up and made breakfast. Mi-chan smiles, saying he should be glad since she's waking him up early, and he's also having breakfast while washing the dishes. Natsume told her he doesn't recall letting a human live with him, but Mi-chan says the cat and the human are the same person. She then says his attitude is too different from when she's a cat. Natsume explains that the cat version of her is just cuter than the human one. Mi-chan gets shocked and goes up to Natsume to check if his space shuttle was still ready for liftoff, or if it had crash landed, because who knows? Maybe he's just not into girls, she thought. Natsume then asks her about her ribbon and if she has an owner, but she says it's only to avoid animal control. Suddenly his doorbell rang. It's a package, but it doesn't say who sent it. Mi-chan reveals that it's hers. She opens her package and offers her forbidden fabric to Natsume, to which he declines. He then explains to her that she would need to leave after she finds herself a place to go. Here we go again. Another protector of the V card. She says okay and proceeds to go on her phone. Just then, the doorbell rings again. This time it's his landlord asking him to walk his dog, Tetsuo. Since his back is starting to hurt again, He then asks if there's a cat, because yesterday he heard some meowing. Natsumi panics and tells him it's probably a stray cat. As Natsume is about to go grab his jacket to leave his house, he bumps into Mi-chan, fully dressed up and ready to leave too. Since it was still early in the morning, she's able to leave the house while walking. Mi-chan calls Natsume a beta male for always doing what he's told to do when he can actually decline them or make up an excuse. But Natsume says, "It's not like I can do things that no one else can." Mi-chan hears this, and getting in front of him, she puts her hand on his face, telling him it's not true, since she wouldn't want to be raised by anybody aside from Natsume. She tells him to have more confidence and pride, because after all, she chose him. She then walks off with Tetsuo. They get back, and the landlord says goodbye to Natsume. But Mi-chan stops him and tells him to say thank you. Natsumi tries to stop her, but the landlord agrees with her and says thank you to him. Natsume smiled and looked at Mi-chan, who smiled back at him. Mi-chan lays on his bed getting ready to go back to sleep. Meanwhile, Natsume has to head off to work. He told her to at least cook dinner for him when he gets back. But Mi-chan said, "Nah, I'm good." Natsumi got back from work, and Mi-chan is back to her cat form. He tries to hug her, but she slips away and leads him to a bunch of notes that thank him for what he's done for her, and the last one telling him that she likes how kind he is. Natsume read all of them and started blushing, telling her that maybe the human her is not so bad. Every night Mi-chan would walk around, and when she turned into a human, she would put her clothes on and snuggle into bed with Natsume. Natsumi woke up and yelled at her for sleeping in the same bed as him. He pointed to the sleeping bag he set up for her last night. While Natsumi was setting up the sleeping bag, he saw Mi-chan in the middle of kneading and told her that in her cat form, she can sleep on his bed, but when she's a human, she must sleep in the sleeping bag. Mi-chan says she never said yes to the sleeping bag. Besides, there's plenty of space on his bed, and he should be grateful to get to sleep with such a beautiful girl like her. Natsumi says he's anything but grateful, since he has to wake up with something soft touching his back. Okay, now this guy's just complaining, because if that were me, I'd be happier than a little kid who just walked into a candy store. Mi-chan starts throwing a tantrum while chanting, "No sleeping bags." Natsumi then asks the most important question, which is how old is she? She smiles and says she's 17. FBI, open up! Oh mama, I'm the villain of the story. But wait, the author could be referring to 17 cat years old. So technically, that would make her around 80 years old. Natsume got the same reaction as every other man that's watching this video. Natsume starts imagining himself in prison and accidentally dropping the soap. He's scared for life, so he told her if she ever sleeps on his bed again, he'll kick her out. Mi-chan gets angry at him for not even letting her sleep on his bed in her human form. Natsumi explains that a cat is cute, and besides, bro doesn't want to be taking shots from behind in prison. She then asks if she's not cute. Natsume ignores her and asks what she wants for breakfast. She tells him she wants neko manhwa. During Natsume's break time, Mi-chan messages him and sends a picture of herself, but Natsumi is not amused. She then sends another picture of her as a cat, and Natsumi instantly saves it and replies with a sticker. Other employees walk in and get surprised that Natsumi is actually eating something, because usually they only see him drinking water. She sees that it's homemade food and asks if he's gotten himself a girlfriend. She reveals that she saw him walking a dog with a cute black-haired girl. She gets happy since the first time she saw them. She thought Natsume was renting a girlfriend. Natsume explained to them that she isn't a girlfriend, and she's more like a relative. One of the girls said she's too cute to be his relative, leaving Natsume in pain. Mi-chan looks at her phone and gets irritated that Natsume is only reacting positively to the cat photos of her throughout her life. Everyone called her cute, and now that she met Natsume, who thinks a cat is cute or really irritates her, she pouts, and since she's annoyed, she starts eating Natsume's favourite sweets. Natsume arrived back home and saw her sleeping. He started brushing her hair. He looked at her and wondered if she did have a pretty face. He got startled and came to the realization that he's pushing 30 and he's out here brushing a 17-year-old hair without her permission. He stopped himself and saw that she ate his snacks. He smiled and called her cute for a kid. Good save there, Natsume. Otherwise you would have been petting her from behind bars. Mi-chan hears this and starts blushing. She gets up and wonders why she's feeling so happy right now. As she's about to ask Natsume a question, she turns back into her cat form. Natsume quickly offers her milk, and she gets happy that Natsume finally noticed her cuteness. But Natsume then says he wishes she would stay a cat forever. Mi-chan gets mad hearing this and decides to not sleep on his bed even in her cat form. While Mi-chan goes out for her night walk, she sometimes talks to other cats. This time she met Taran. Taran asks who's her owner. Mi-chan points to Natsume's apartment. Taran says that place has a scary uncle who chased her with a broomstick once. But Mi-chan says her owner is super kind-hearted, so it's fine. Then she sees Maria-chan. She's the cat Natsume has always wanted to pet, but she would get pissed at him. Taran says, "Isn't she cute?" Mi-chan looks at her and says she's cuter and runs back to Natsume's apartment. She gets onto his bed and wonders why Natsume calling her cute had such a big impact on her. She taps his face and lays down on him, claiming she'll make him call her cute once more. Natsume wakes up, and Mi-chan is just patiently waiting to greet him. She then reveals her cute outfit to Natsume, thinking he's going to call her cute. But Natsume gets mad and tells her to not wear such a revealing outfit. She thinks Natsume is acting a lot like her mum. They have breakfast, and Mi-chan asks why Natsume is staring at her. He calls her cute, since she had such a good appetite, even though it's early in the morning. Mi-chan yells at him, telling him that's not what he's supposed to say. Natsume went off to work, and Mi-chan is left alone lying in bed. She wonders if Natsume will be back while she's still in her human form, and just then, she comes up with an idea. At work, Natsume is busy trying to stop the aunties from arguing, but another employee calls him out to meet someone. Natsume gets confused, and as he looks up, he sees Mi-chan. Natsume gets surprised and realizes the aunties are talking behind his back, so he quickly grabs her and runs out. She asks if what she's wearing is cute, but Natsume yells at her to go home. He asks her to never come here, and she wonders why. He explains that he doesn't want rumors to be spread among the aunties of a local supermarket. Mi-chan apologizes and goes to sit on a swing, wondering why she's doing these kinds of things. She looks over and sees two kids playing and realizes that being cute is about bringing joy to someone. She smiles and wonders what she can do aside from being cute. As she's thinking on the swing, someone appears in front of her. Natsume arrives home late and apologizes to Mi-chan since she must be hungry, but Mi-chan didn't come out. He looks around his room and there is no sign of her. He thinks that maybe she went out on a walk. He then recalls the moment that Mi-chan says she's being chased. Natsume's face went blank, and as he looks behind the balcony door, it is opened.